the start of the year in our old Celtic lands, and we'd be waiting in our houses of wattles and clay. The barriers would be down, you see, between the real and the unreal. And the dead might be looking in to sit by our fires of turf. The Festival of Samhain. The world's going to change tonight, Doctor. I'm glad you'll be able to watch it. And happy Halloween.
Welcome everyone, we're back again here in Film Asylum. We are your hosts, Colin Peters,
John Brashatter,
Jeff Manfred. Oh, and we have special guest Thea with us today.
Yay! And another special guest with us again, the one and only Lord Damien McDonovan.
Yeah! Welcome back.
Hello everyone, hello. Thank you very much. Always great to see you guys.
What a wonderful time of season to have you here.
Oh, of course, you know, it's the most wonderful time of the year. You know?
Wait, isn't that a Christmas tagline?
No,
it's a Halloween tagline.
I'm reclaiming that.
I totally agree.
It should be a Halloween tagline.
I've been saying for years I want Halloween presents, not Christmas presents. You know, so it's, for me, this is it. You know, I reclaim all of those Christmas style little phrases and sayings for this time of year. It's the most wonderful time of the year. 'Tis the season. You know, that I do all of that this time of year. I hibernate during the hot.
It's probably the best time. It gets colder and nastier and all the snow.
Yeah, except that the nights are longer. You know,
Yeah.
the nights are longer, so you would expect someone like me to be out anyway.
I mean, you got Krampus to keep you company, maybe.
Oh yeah, he's always a lot of fun.
Your arch nemesis.
Oh no, we're not talking about him.
Okay.
I was getting Facebook notifications only about a week ago. It's like literally on the 13th is when I came back from Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and was utterly humiliated by that damned snowman.
I always thought Frosty was a dick too.
Fortunately, he's been contained for a little while, so he hasn't been too much of a problem in the last year or two.
Let's blowtorch him.
Hey, I was there that marathon when he captured him.
No, I had captured him the year before.
Oh, that's right.
The first year that we actually filmed the marathon, the RCN marathon together.
He was still captured.
We already had him. He was already trapped in the snow globe. Wasn't causing any problems for that party. Hell no.
So, with the holiday season, Halloween coming up, and for those of you who don't know, Halloween, also known as Samhain, not Samhain, is coming around the corner. We're still doing a Halloween or horror marathon, and this movie that we're going to be talking about today is actually a little different. Most of the time we're going in a chronological order in a series of movies, but this time we're going out of order, and we're going to be talking about 1982's Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. This was directed by Tommy Lee Wallace, who is actually a friend of John Carpenter's, who directed the original Halloween. Mm-hmm. I believe he worked in the props department. I know he was actually Michael Myers when he burst through the closet, because when he set up the closet, he knew the soft points on where to hit.
Oh, that was him?
So that was actually Tommy Lee Wallace.
So 3 people have played Michael Myers in that movie.
Yep.
Nick Castle, Tony Moran, was it the other guy?
I think that's Tony Moran.
Tony Moran, yeah, when he has the mask off in the one scene at the very end, and then he gets shot in the
plays
head.
Michael Myers for a whole 10 seconds.
Yes, a whole 10 seconds.
And now goes to conventions with a nice big sign to meet Michael Myers.
I was Tony Moran. That's crazy. And then Tommy Lee Wallace, so he was him at one point, too, in the movie. I did not know that. Okay.
Yep. And Dean Cundy from the original movie, he's also the director of photography in this. Which, if you watch Halloween 3, it kind of looks like a John Carpenter movie.
It really does. It has the aesthetic and feel of his other movies.
And the music helps with that too.
Yeah.
I was rewatching this again last night, and as I was listening to it, it's like this really does feel like a John Carpenter soundtrack.
It really does. Him and Alan Howarth, they collaborated together to work on the retro score. Really, really good stuff.
I'd say they even reused the Halloween theme towards the end of the movie too.
They do?
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit.
It's not really retro though, is it? Since it was made during.
It's become retro.
It's become retro now.
It has become
right.
retro. It wasn't then now. But very symphonic, but yes.
It's not this. It's not this new dark wave stuff. This is the original. This is
The original, yeah.
It's like actually after watching it again last night, it's like I kind of want to go look for the soundtrack to this movie and put a lot of it on my Halloween playlist.
It's good.
like,
The soundtrack is
actually
really good. It is
cool.
good. It is good.
Actually, they just re-released it on vinyl. I think earlier this month because they did all of them.
Okay.
Nice. I'm gonna have to look for that.
A couple of years ago, the movie also got remastered on Blu-ray. It actually looks really, really good too.
It's cleaned up really well.
It has.
Especially because the plot of this movie does not have Michael Myers. The original concept of this movie was actually a pretty ingenious idea. What happened was they were doing something that you could compare to, say, American Horror Story now, or even the Conjuring movies, where they have a movie, then they have the spin-offs.
Right.
What they wanted to do was take, after Halloween 2, turn the Halloween movie franchise into this continual Halloween yearly thing.
Like an anthology series.
But change the idea of Halloween. Like, it could be witches, it could be zombies, vampires, so-and-so down the line. It wasn't just going to be a Michael Myers franchise.
And that's brilliant. I wish it had stayed in that direction. Of course, the marketing, to me, was the biggest failure of this movie because people did not grasp the idea. The marketing didn't exactly show that Michael Myers wasn't going to be in the third one, but they didn't do enough to say that he wasn't going to appear at all. And of course, when this movie came out in theaters, there was a major backlash. It made its money back its opening weekend, but then when people realized that the Shape wasn't returning, people booed it, critics hated this movie, audiences fled away from the theaters, and it basically ruined any plan of that at all from happening in the future, which is unfortunate.
It was ahead of its time, and like you said, it didn't do well with the marketing. That was the thing that killed it. If people went in fully understanding what they were doing and why they were doing it, I think you would have had more people that had an open mind. Maybe they wouldn't have gone to the theater at all. I mean, I know, like they said, it really wasn't a big box office hit, and it's possible after hearing that they might have thought, well, I don't want to deal with it at all then. But maybe it could have drawn more people if they would have said, this is something different, this is what we're planning on doing, this is why. And maybe later on, if fans wanted to, they could have brought Michael Myers back anyway and said Halloween presents the return of Michael Myers or something.
There's no reason why they couldn't have done that. I mean, Tommy Lee Wallace fought kicking and screaming to try and just get it to be released as Season of the Witch, or even just Halloween Season of the Witch, not Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, because he said the curse of the movie was how it got made. The studio wanted to be called Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, and that was ultimately the movie's demise. He wanted to be just called Season of the Witch, but he was overruled. They went ahead with the plans that they wanted to do, and he said, this is what people are going to hate about the movie.
People go into it thinking that it's definitely part of this franchise and it's a continuation of the first two stories, then obviously they're going to be shocked, you know, and put off by it. It's like, like you were saying, Colin, poor marketing can ruin everything. Can ruin a movie just like that.
Right.
I mean, I always bring up Hudson Hawk as an example of that. I think Hudson Hawk is brilliant and hilarious, and nobody ever agrees with me. But I think the reason the movie failed utterly was because of the marketing.
Wait, is that the one with Bruce Willis?
Yes, that's the one that Bruce Willis wrote and produced, and I probably directed some of it. I'm not entirely sure.
So wait, Bruno actually wrote something?
No, but yeah, it's like because he was coming off of the Die Hard 1 and 2 notoriety, and they marketed the movie as like this big action film. This big serious action film is like, this is a slapstick comedy. This is a this is a stupid, goofy slapstick comedy, and nobody got it. It ruined the marketing for the movie.
I'm not gonna lie, I actually enjoyed that movie.
I like Hudson Hawk.
Because I didn't know the story behind it, being that they were trying to use all the Die Hard fame to get this movie out there.
Yeah,
But
that's one of the reasons why it completely failed in theaters.
And that's probably a reason why the studio wanted Halloween 3 in the title.
Yeah.
That they're making it because they're going to call it a Halloween 3 movie, thinking that this is what's going to put butts in the seats more.
Exactly.
And they're capitalizing on what had already happened.
Unfortunately, if it wasn't called Halloween 3, the movie would have never gotten funded.
Yeah.
We never would have gotten the $2.5 million they needed to make the movie.
It might have been a good thing. Just saying.
I mean, like myself, when I first saw the movie, of course, I avoided it because people told me, don't see it. It doesn't have Michael Myers in it. Don't want to see it. And then I saw it one time on AMC's Monster Fest. I was like, if you just take away the fact that he's not going to be in the movie, The Shape, he's not going to be in this movie, if you just accept the story for what it is, as I was watching, I'm like, I'm entertained.
Oh yeah,
I'm liking what I'm seeing right now.
This is a terribly entertaining movie. All the acting is fantastic. I think it's fun. Although I think it does get a little bit repetitive.
A bit.
But
yes.
I noticed as I was thinking about it, it's like all the things that seem to repeat themselves. I wonder if they're doing it intentionally, because everything seems to happen 3 times. And this is Halloween 3.
The 3 masks.
There's 3 masks. We get like 3 near sex scenes in this movie, like almost in a row. It's like they start going at it. He leaves. He comes back. They do it again, and then they wake up in the middle of the night and they're at it again while something awful is happening in a couple of rooms over. And then later on, spoilers, when he gets out and he's being attacked by the robot. It's like he gets grabbed by the neck 3 times.
Yeah.
By the same bloody robot. It's like, wait a minute, what the hell is going on?
I did not pick up on that until now. That's so funny.
Well,
that actually makes a lot of sense if you think about it. Why not? Let's do 3 for everything.
Yeah.
I think
It's that rule of comedy. Maybe we're looking at this the wrong way. This is also supposed to be a comedy, like Hudson Hawk. The rule of 3 in comedy.
Well, Tom Atkins, the main actor, he does sleep with the girl like 2 or 3 times, and then he asks her, "Wait, what? How old are you?" Like, what? Are you serious?
Literally, buddy, that's the first question you need to ask prior.
Because clearly it looks like there's a 20-year age difference.
A bit of a dark irony is that the woman staying next door, Tom Atkins was married to her at the time.
Wife, yeah.
That was his wife at the time. Are they still married? I don't know if they're still married, but they were married at the time.
Wait. So the woman that first gets hit by the misfire?
Yes.
That's actually Tom Atkins' wife?
Yes. So he's getting on the other room while his wife is dying a horrible death.
Listen, honey, I got a job for you. It's going to work out for me.
I need you to get your face blown apart.
Right.
And then bugs.
Yeah.
The actress who played Tom Atkins' ex-wife was Nancy Loomis,
Yes.
who is Tommy Lee Wallace's
Yes.
ex-wife,
Wife
the
at the
director.
time, yes.
Yeah. And I believe her last name really was Loomis at one point.
It was.
Now
Nancy
she goes.
Loomis.
Now she goes by Nancy Keys or Kies, I believe.
Keys, yeah, I think that's what it is. Tommy Lee Wallace, like we said before, he's been attached with Carpenter for many, many years. He's also gone on to direct a few projects, not really a lot. He did direct Fright Night Part 2. He directed, I think the one thing he's also known for is the It miniseries. He directed both installments of that. He, like the first part, he actually publicly announced that he hated the second part of it. And he also directed, I'm trying to think what else he did. That might actually be it, because he's not really primarily known as a director. But
Is that a pun?
But
That might be it.
I know Joe Dante was originally the first choice to direct Halloween 3,
yes.
but he left the project to go do what is now known as Gremlins.
so it worked out.
Yeah,
worked
probably a good move on his part.
I think that was a better career decision overall. So this is far different from any other Halloween plot that we've had. I mean, you don't get too far from having a shape walking down the street, stalking and killing babysitters, and then going to a plot where you have an Irish warlock named Cochrane who builds robots and henchmen in a grand conspiracy to murder a bunch of children on Halloween.
You forgot about stealing part of Stonehenge.
Yes, he did steal part of Stonehenge, and they're manufacturing the magic of Stonehenge into the microchips. And then, when the kids wear the masks during a special promotional commercial during Halloween, their heads melt and turn into a pile of snakes and bugs.
Listen, this movie was ahead of its time. Because like
The plot is perfect.
Well, I'm just saying, if you look at everything they put into the movie, so you've got robots, you've got magic, you've got all this stuff. It was ahead of its time. In the 80s, they didn't have the ability to make this look amazing. This could have been a better movie.
The robot thing, I don't quite get. I fully admit that. I enjoy this movie, I get it, but I don't get the robots. Why robots?
I'm with you, because I don't understand Dan O'Hurley's character. What's his name? Cochran? What's his first name? Connell?
Connell Cochran.
It almost looks like
cock in it, all right?
No, well, his first name kind of looks like co-anal here when I'm looking at it, and his last name's Cochran.
Connell Cochran.
Look, it's Irish. It will never be pronounced the way it actually looks.
Samhain.
Take my word on it.
They actually pronounce Samhain correct in this movie.
They do. Yes.
They don't say it Sam Hain. I'm like, thank you. You get props for saying Samhain.
I didn't quite understand if he's actually a warlock, a witch, if he's just like super into the Sam Hain. Sorry, damn.
Oh, you are.
That's it. I'm leaving.
Oh man.
I'm in the Samhain holiday because he's talking about the roots of it and how we got to bring it back and the planets are aligning, but yet he really has no magic.
He doesn't.
So, and
He's just very devout in his roots.
You don't know if he's hundreds of years old. I mean, he's an older man.
Yes.
And he's talking about the planets aligning. I'm almost thinking he's an alien. And because of the robots yet. He's talking about Stonehenge yet. And because if he had magic, why would they be robots? Like, why wouldn't they be ghosts or familiars or zombies?
You will absolutely have to plug that meme into the video for the show now. Season of the Witch, plotline. Aliens. I'm not saying it was aliens, but...
Aliens. It does borrow. There's a lot of references to Invasion of the Body Snatchers. That's another one. And Tommy Lee Wallace said that he was inspired by that movie. And there are a lot of sprinkled elements from that movie in this one.
Well, the town that it happens in, right? Isn't that like the same town?
That's the same town as
Santa Mira.
Santa Mira.
Is that the original Body Snatchers, right?
Yes.
Not the 70s remake. It's the original.
That's the original Body Snatchers. That's what he was a fan of the most. And it's also reminiscent to the scene where... in the movie, Dr. Challis, he's basically ruining Cochran's plan, like raining down the defective microchips, killing everybody. That's kind of reminiscent of Invasion of Body Snatchers, or at least in the 70s version when Donald Sutherland is sabotaging all the pods and they're trying to scavenge and try and get things ready together.
Where he's like cutting down all the lights and trying to
destroy everything, and it's not working. And as well as the iconic line at the very end, the "You're next" thing in Invasion of Body Snatchers, similar to Tom Atkins yelling in the phone, "Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!" So, a lot of moments sprinkled in that.
While we're on it,
Okay.
since we're talking about influences and Invasion of the Body Snatchers, it also still does have some Halloween ties into it.
It does. I'm glad.
Yeah, they still kept the DNA in the movie here. Like, they showed previews of the movie on TV saying, oh, tonight at 9, it'll be the immortal classic Halloween. And also, Jamie Lee Curtis was the voice over the intercom that would say there's a curfew in town.
Yep.
And when Tom Atkins would call and they'd say, I'm sorry, the number you dialed can't be reached, is Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah. So she's sort of in all three, the first three, as well as Nancy Loomis. She's also in all three as well. I gotta say, even though the movie was only $2.5 million, it feels more grand than it actually is. And I think that's attributed to Dean Cundy's awesome cinematography in this movie.
It's shot very well.
It's shot very well. Even just like the opening credits scene, how you get that awesome music, and you're not really sure what you're looking at as the names are popping up on the screen, and it's revealed to be the jack-o'-lantern, and that plays a big part later on to the plot. And then you just see this guy running full speed down a dark road, and then you get the timestamp that it's October 23rd, 8 days to Halloween. He's running for his life. There's a car chasing after him. From the first scene, it grabs you. You're already being drawn into. You want to figure out what's going on. Why is this guy running? What's he running from? And then you see him getting attacked in the junkyard, and then the one henchman gets killed. You don't really know. Well, obviously, you think he's a human because he just got crushed by 2 cars, so that would kill anybody or anything. And, him getting to the gas station when it starts raining. The one issue I have with this scene is that we don't need the timestamp of 1 hour later. That felt useless. We don't need to know that there was a 1 hour 1 hour later. We don't need to know that. We can tell that time has passed. It's raining. It's pouring. We're at a different location. He's been hiding or running for God knows how long. And then he just gets that line, they're coming, with the mask in his hand.
See now, one of my criticisms of the movie is that I feel like that opening part is too long. We probably could have just started at that 1 hour later mark and like skipped some of it beforehand. It feels like okay, I've been watching this movie for almost 15 minutes now, and we're just following this guy who's just running around. It's like we haven't been introduced to the main characters. I feel like that opening scene that prologue is just too long. It kind of drags out the pacing, I think, a little bit. I mean, it's still engaging, but it feels like it's like we're getting towards the end of it, and like before the guy is even dead, it's like, has this movie started yet? Are we haven't seen the main character. It's like we don't know we don't really have an idea of what's going on yet. But I just feel like that opening is just a bit too long.
Okay, I just feel like it encourages the audience to watch, and it's leading up to a mystery. We're seeing what's with the pumpkin mask in his pants. He's obviously holding on to it for something. Mm-hmm. He's trying to get a hold of somebody to tell them what's really going on. And then after that scene, we're introduced to Dr. Challis, Tom Atkins' character. Tom Atkins, I love this actor. Not many people know about who this guy is, but I've never seen this guy give a terrible performance in anything he's ever done. To show how awesome he was as an actor for this movie, he acted the whole movie while having walking pneumonia and feeling sick and not even complaining once. That's how much of a trooper this guy is. And he's in his 40s. He's not the typical handsome leading man type. He's all a more grittier, basically flawed character who's an alcoholic. He's a divorced father. I mean, there's a lot to this guy.
He's definitely rocking the dad bod when he gets out of bed later on.
If you don't know him from this movie, you've also seen him in Creepshow and Night of the Creeps.
Night of the Creeps, yeah.
Wasn't
That's
he
when
in the Fog?
Yeah,
in the fog.
In the fog.
I love him in the fog. And
there's other connections to the fog in this movie too.
There is, yes.
Isn't some of the music playing on the radio station or on TV or something?
I know
the movie was also playing on the radio station on the fog.
I think so. The payphone scene where he's talking to his ex-wife, he's got the 6-pack in his hand. Not far from that location was the church in the fog. And the Buccaneer, the bar that he goes to, that's also got I'm not sure if that's in the fog, but it's that bar is still very much there, and last time I checked, they didn't do a whole lot of remodeling on the inside of it, so it's still pretty much the same as it has been for years.
I was gonna say the gas station was the same one they used in the fog as well.
Yes, that's what it was. Yeah, so the locations are pretty similar, except they're just panned over a little bit to the other side, so different angles, exactly. And Tom Atkins really doesn't like Halloween that much in this movie. You can tell just from the shitty 65-cent masks that he buys his kids.
There you go, guys.
He looked like he got this at a drugstore for 65 cents. I'm like, you really didn't care, did you? And they're like, we already got masks. We got better, more authentic-looking masks from Mom. Good call, because those masks actually look really cool. I would love to own one.
They do, actually. The Silver Shamrock masks. The company making the masks and behind the whole plot of this is called Silver Shamrock, and they like Kyle. I keep wanting to say Kyle
Cochran. Colonel Cochran.
Colonel
Cochran.
He's like the family is made millions of dollars over like novelties and gags and toys and things like that, and doing the Halloween masks every year. But the Halloween masks this year, they actually look really great. Like the quality of them. And later on, when you see them taking like a tour of the factory and pulling the latex out of the molds and everything, like you can't really see it after it's been fully painted because it's so shiny. Like whatever paint they're using to paint the masks, I have a problem with. But when they pull like the witch mask out of the mold and they look at it bare, completely dry latex. It's like, it is so detailed.
It really is.
It looks fantastic. I just wish they hadn't used high gloss paint on it for when they were finishing them up and filming the rest of the movie.
Well, an interesting story about those masks is I believe the skeleton and the witch mask are legit masks that were for sale.
Yes.
Actually,
And
all
yes.
three are now. They're through the company Trick or Treat.
Well,
All three are now,
yeah,
yes.
now,
But
okay.
I think
but they developed the jack-o'-lantern for the movie because they wanted 3 masks and they wanted something more Halloween-like and
Something iconic with the holiday. Yeah, the jack.
I guess that goes with the whole thing of the threes, too.
Right.
Yes,
right.
it goes back to the 3.
So it was planned.
It was all
I'm
planned.
doing it intentionally. I meant to do that.
The kids are singing that theme song, and then the commercial comes on. And did that stick in your heads at all?
Actually, it was the whole time. And then I found out it's the London Bridge.
Yeah.
Tune
Because
they
it was
used
public
for it.
domain.
Yeah.
Yes,
I was like,
they only used it because it was public domain.
they said they didn't have time, they didn't have enough money to create their own song, so they said just find something that's in public domain. And it's Tommy Lee Wallace who actually is singing, and they chipmunked it. Yeah, and they chipmunked his voice up.
Oh my god.
And I guess John Carpenter used him to do radio work in The Fog too.
I think so.
And
yeah.
that's where they found out that he could just do it, because it's also him doing the...
Yes, kids, you can own 3
Yeah.
delightful masks.
That's him
Yeah.
as well, and he's also the guy who's saying, you know, tonight at 9, watch the immortal classic Halloween. That's him again.
Yeah,
that's
Like,
pretty cool.
that is neat. But yeah, that theme song sticks in your head in the best and the worst way imaginable.
Oh, yeah. I torture my assistant Pickpocket Pete with it constantly. He absolutely hates that thing.
And then moving on from then, and that's when Dr. Challis gets called in the hospital. So the guy who was at the gas station with the mask, he's been brought to the hospital, and they're asking questions, wondering what exactly happened to him. It's an emergency. And I think it's ironic that he gets put into room 13.
After
The number
Friday the
the number for bad luck. And you know, not long after that, he gets a visit from one of the surviving guards, henchmen, and he just gets his face crushed completely. There was the one time, the prosthetics and the makeup are really, really good in this movie, but it was that one little shot where he's like breaking his nose and like suffocating him in the pillow. It looked like a rubber mask. That was the only thing I was like, oh, that couldn't have. You didn't have to show it maybe that way, but everything else looked real. All the deaths that like involve makeup and prosthetics, I bought into it. But I was like, that one scene where like it looked like a rubber mask that was being stretched at one point. I'm like, I think that could have been tweaked a little bit better. Just me personally.
When the guy was brought in, what's his name? Harry? Challis actually prescribed the same drug that Loomis does for Michael.
Yes.
Thorazine.
Yeah,
Thorazine.
and it's supposed to suppress mental and mood and psychotic disorders.
Yeah.
So they thought he was crazy. So instead of actually treating him
absolutely.
as a normal person, they're like, "Oh, this dude's fucking nuts."
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So I would think about it. He's coming in screaming about a mask, and I wouldn't know how to
He's
react.
he's delusional. Exactly.
He's not letting it go either. He's
Yeah.
holding on to that thing.
Right. The body's discovered, and then you just see him, the killer, walk into his car, pour gasoline all over his head, and just blow himself up. And I was like, all right, wow, okay, this really took a turn. But it's still leading up to a mystery. Why did he do it? What is his purpose? What was he trying to do? What is he getting out of this?
What was the point of the robot setting itself on fire? I don't...
Well, you gotta get rid of all the evidence, because like the nurse saw him, he didn't kill her, and he
didn't
just
kill
kind of
her.
just walked out. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
everyone knows what you look like now. That explains it. Gasoline gone.
Right, gets rid of anything physical, and then there's that whole mystery with the coroner trying to figure out who this person was, and they can't find a single trace of bone or flesh or anything.
Like it's car parts.
Car parts.
It looks like car parts.
It's like car parts. It's like there was never a person in this car. Like, no, I saw a guy pour gasoline on him and then burn himself. But,
That part was hilarious. I remember just watching it going, why?
What?
why?
But he pours gas on himself in the car, and then boom!
He walked into a hospital to intentionally crush a man's head. He could have easily just gone out to the car and left. It's not like anyone in the hospital is going to be able to follow him.
I know, yeah.
And then later on, you find out he's a robot, so it's like, what would he care? It's not like he has to get arrested. It's not like he's going to tell the cops anything. If he would get
Do
caught.
the robots even really talk? They just
They don't
kinda
talk.
No,
One
the
sneezes.
robots don't talk.
One does sneeze.
Oh my God, really?
And he goes, convincing, aren't they?
I wonder if that wasn't
Because of
planned
that
more
one
ad-lib.
That's got to be an ad lib. That's gotta
That'd be great if it was.
be. It's like he just thinking to himself in his head, "Fuck it, let's just keep going."
Wait, doesn't he even say bless you?
I think I'm not sure.
I don't remember.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Okay, so now they've got a destroyed car and a dead body in it, and another dead body in the hospital. That's when we get our first intro to the deceased man's daughter, Stacey Nelkin, who plays Ellie Grimpage. She was primarily known for television. This was actually her feature film debut, so that's kind of a nice opportunity to get like your first feature film as like the leading lady in this movie.
Yeah.
So, and she does a very good job in terms of her performance. Everybody does.
Yeah, she's fantastic. I think until her last couple of scenes where I feel like she's a bit robotic.
But there's one thing I have to address, and that's with nothing to Tom Atkins as an actor, but his character. He's kind of like a 40-year-old pimp, and he does some things that would not be warranted in any hospital or any work environment. Slapping the one nurse in the butt.
He's like, if I was married to you.
And then wanting to like go out to all these dinners with the coroner and then meeting together. And, like,
This behavior would not fly.
this
if
would
we
not
did
be
this movie
okay
today.
in today's society. Like, he'd be in some serious trouble right now.
There's quite a few things in the movie that really wouldn't fly by PC terms in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
The big one is the slaughtering of children.
That was
I
that was a tad too much for the MPAA, because originally they had that kid death scene going on a lot longer than it actually was. They had to trim it back because they got like I think it was an NC-17 rating at one point. Like, you're showing the kid and too much bugs and too much death with the kid, so they got to trim that back to keep that R rating.
Because there's no actual gore with the kid, though. Too.
There
It's
isn't.
just.
I think it was just a puddle of bugs and snakes was too much for them. Like, oh, we haven't seen this before, but this is way too much. We got to trim this back, or you're going to get this rating.
Interesting.
So.
I didn't know that. You know, that's another problem, a criticism I have with the movie. We get snakes crawling out of these masks,
Yeah.
and we've been told time and time again throughout this movie that the people perpetrating this insidious plot are Irish. And I'm going to clear this up once and for all. There are no snakes native to Ireland. There have never been snakes native to Ireland. St. Patrick did not drive snakes out of Ireland. There weren't any there to begin with. Now snakes were, on the other hand, snakes were a prominent creature in like druid like mythology and lore, but there are no snakes native to Ireland. I just want to clear that up.
So
Of course, I'm sure, but a lot of the bugs that were probably crawling out of there aren't native to Ireland. It's like that one really fat-looking grasshopper that comes out of the woman's mouth, like during the first misfire. It's like, is that a weta? Isn't that thing from New Zealand? What the heck?
Oh, flaws in movie making.
It's just misfires in logic, unfortunately.
Yeah.
They did have 3 writers that made this movie.
Yeah.
3 writers, 3 masks.
only Tommy Lee Wallace got credit, but 65% of the work was Nigel Neal's work, British sci-fi writer, and because the executive producer, Dino De Laurentiis, wasn't happy with the script originally, so he asked Carpenter to rewrite some portions and to add in more gore, more violent scenes. Nigel Neal didn't like this, and he said, take my name off the credits because I don't want to be attached to this anymore. So then Carpenter wrote some stuff, and he didn't want to have his name attached to it, so Tommy Lee Wallace is the one that gets final credit in the credits of the movie.
It's bad when
But
two
even
people
though-
are like, nah, I don't want any part of it. I'll write it, but nah.
You tarnished my script, and there was more going for it, and you took some things out, and you added your own things into it, and like, I don't like that. No, I don't support that.
That happens a lot.
It does happen a lot.
Tarantino did that with Natural Born Killers. He
Okay.
had a totally different script, and they said that changed completely, and he said, take my name off of it. I don't have nothing to do with it.
Yeah, no, it's a common trait in Hollywood with screenwriting. And then, so after Stacey Nelkin sees her dead father, confirms that it's her, we get a 2-day timestamp. So now it's already October 25th. Now we got 5 days left until, or the 26th? Either or. There's a lot of date changing, and then we see Tom Atkins at the bar. I'm glad that he acknowledges how annoying the theme song is because there's a cartoon being played at the bar. He's like, can you please turn this? And then he sees the commercial being played again. Can you please turn this again? And the bartender's like, what's the matter? Don't got any Halloween spirit? No, I don't. Clearly. And then it goes into this, more into this investigative mystery with Stacey Nelkin finding Tom Atkins, doing some research of her own, saying, I know you hang out at this bar a lot, and thank you for coming to the funeral for my dad. You didn't have to do that. He's like, I want to because I was, there. I felt bad for you because you were really distraught and upset. And then it revealed that he was a mask maker, and he was onto something of his own. And so they basically decide to take a vacation to go to Santa Mira, and throughout the movie, Tom Atkins is like battling back and forth with his ex-wife, like, no, I can't be there. I'll promise the kids I'll take them trick-or-treating, and they're always like bickering and fighting back and forth. Hangs up on her. He's always got like a drink in his hand to some degree. He's got a 6-pack in his hand as they're going to the car.
Seems like the shitty fucking dad, man. He's
my God.
I'll take care of it next time.
Yeah, he is.
Shitty dad, shitty doctor. It's like not the most heroic lead character.
And I guess that's what makes him interesting because he's not like the pristine, perfect protagonist in any movie. Like, he's very flawed. He's got a lot of issues.
He's a flawed hero in this.
He's a very flawed hero.
Extremely flawed. We don't actually see him do any actual doctoring, do we?
We don't.
No,
he wears a coat.
He wears a coat. He wears a coat.
He prescribes Thorazine.
He wrote stuff down with a pen.
Right, that's right. Yeah,
and he slapped the nurse on the ass.
Yes. All the 80s soap opera staples of being a doctor.
Your ass is fine.
Let's get dinner. But please continue on this investigation with the car parts and the burnt car. We'll have dinner. I owe you a dinner. I owe you more dinners.
I owe you so many dinners.
I owe you so many dinners.
I swear to God, I'll pick up the kids this night. It's like, well, that maybe that's why he has no Halloween spirit. He's such a crappy father, and he's just gone through the divorce. He has no money.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He can't afford the silver Shamrock masks. That's
why very true.
Yeah. But he can afford alcohol.
He can afford alcohol. Yeah.
There's always room for booze. Everybody knows that.
So, and then there's a scene where they go to
hold on a second here. So, what exactly makes him want to go on this epic crusade with Stacey Nelkin?
Now, one could argue that he's genuinely a caring guy who felt bad for dad, or he just wants to bang her. Or he just wants to bang her.
See, this is typical 80s. We're gonna give the plain non-heroic hero this smoking hot 20-year-old and be like, yeah, you want to go with this chick to bang her.
That's it. You don't want to help out at all. You want to find out what she looks like naked.
I got a 6-pack. We got 4 wheels. Let's go to this location and find a motel room.
Well, no. He does make a big point of trying to figure out what the heck happened to this guy in the hospital.
He does.
He is genuinely curious and enraged that nobody is giving him any kind of information. I would be too.
It's weird.
But I still agree with you all. He's probably just trying to get some tail.
Yeah.
And in that respect, this guy, he almost comes across like a Jack Burton kind of figure. It almost feels like another John Carpenter hero. It feels like Jack Burton from Big Trouble in Little China. It's like he's kind of an idiot. But he's got an attitude. He's not the greatest man, but he gets kind of wrapped up in like this whole other culture.
Yeah.
During like this mystery and kind of actiony horror movie.
Oh yeah.
I will say I do like that he's not perfect and you don't expect it, because then the point of like a hero's journey, if you will, is to overcome boundaries and self-insecurities, but it's not like he really has any insecurities or boundaries that he has to overcome. He's just
alcoholism.
And I don't think he really changes by the end of the movie.
Not at all.
I mean, if that robot had not tried to choke him 3 times in a row, he still would have banged it.
Yeah. But I still think like he becomes even more desperate at the very end because he knows the truth about what's going on. He's really making a huge effort to try and stop what is happening. I mean, he didn't have to do this, but he has to. Like, he's the only person that can do it at this point. So then we get some great shots with more of Dean Cundy's great cinematography of like the countryside. Like I said, this movie feels more grand than it actually is. You'd think this was worth more than $2.5 million, but that's all they had to work with. And they go to Santa Mira, which is the same town as Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And even the town itself feels like it's like 2 steps away from becoming a full-blown ghost town. It's weird. It's got a very like 1948 vibe. All the security cameras are watching everybody. Everybody is watching each other. People are hiding behind their windows and their doors, covering things like, who is this strange person coming to town? Oh, I bet they're here for this factory that's basically become the town. The factory is overtaking everything.
That's one of the first things he says when he gets there. It's a company town.
Yeah.
And a lot of companies did that, like Bethlehem Steelworks, when they were getting started, like in the 50s and like earlier, they actually built out part of Bethlehem.
Okay.
So there's actually parts of Bethlehem that were specifically built as row homes specifically for Bethlehem Steelworkers. Mm-hmm. So it's like an entire town is like populated and operated by this particular company, this big company in the area. Mm-hmm. So it's been done. We see there's just like places like that all over the United States where the whole company is the town.
Exactly. They outsource jobs to other people. They don't even do local hire. The one bum who's drinking the booze saying like, oh, they turned me down because I wanted to work at that factory, but they brought in these people from overseas to work at this factory, so they wouldn't hire me, and look where I am now. I'm homeless and I'm a drunk just like you, Tom Atkins.
Right.
But yeah, and then there's like issues being addressed right now. People, all the local mask makers and the costume shops in the within the 50-mile radius or so, they're having problems at the factory. Like, I can't get my new shipment in now, so I gotta stay another night in this godforsaken town. They can't get my orders right. I'm backed up. This is the busiest time of the year for me. It's Halloween. It never loses the fact that this is really pushing on the holiday of Halloween. It's everywhere in this movie. Where in the first 2 Halloween movies, the original working title was The Babysitter Murders. You could have had that movie take place at any time during the year and it would still be effective. The holiday didn't really do anything to impact The Shape and Michael Myers. It's just that Irwin Yablans thought, let's make it Halloween because there's no horror movie out there called Halloween. So let's change the name from The Babysitter Murders to Halloween. This one, what I love is that it specifically has to do with the holiday. And what would happen to the children on Halloween night if they wear these masks. It has its roots firmly fitted into the holiday, which is why I love it.
As far as like traditional Halloween movies go, I would probably sooner watch this than I would like the other Michael Myers movies.
Okay.
Especially since all the other Michael Myers movies are so bloody confusing now with all the different timelines.
Choose your own adventure.
Choose your own adventure, Michael Myers.
Most of them are trash. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah. But even like I acknowledge like the first 2. Specifically the first one, of course, but like I'll sooner watch this movie during the Halloween season rather than Michael Myers. And you're right. Halloween is everywhere, from the decor, the commercials. I mean, it's the main point of the entire plot line. The whole plot line revolves around the holiday.
Yes, that's
Even
great.
the antagonist makes that clear.
Oh yeah. It's like he's almost like a Bond supervillain. We get that speech at the end of the movie explaining the villainous backstory.
Oh I didn't even think about it like that. It's like standing in front of this, like, this is my grand plan.
I'm just missing a hairless cat right now.
Oh, really?
To stroke.
It's just like he stole a major edifice. It was like a major. He stole part of a major landmark so that he could cut it into pieces and then put it into microchips to melt children's brains.
Yeah.
So it sounds like a Bond villain to me.
It really does sound like the plot of Moonraker. Just that plot alone. Let's build our own civilization on the moon.
And I love how they never explain how they actually stole the blue stone from
No.
Listen,
like he talks about it like at the end. It was like that was a process. Let me tell you. Please go on. No, we're not going to tell you. Actually,
his whole factory's run by robots. You're telling me he can't send a whole bunch of robots over there to steal a fucking rock?
Yeah, like, you can send a handful of those robots over, and they can just pick the damn stone out of the ground.
Listen, every part of him still works, even when it's broken off. We saw that.
Yeah. Oh God.
Oh, and all the robots originally when they were casting this, like all the robots were cast like through like an extras
Yeah.
company.
They were kind of
And-
like the most menacing. That's
right.
what they wanted.
But they originally wanted all redheads. Mm-hmm. Which everyone associates red hair with Ireland. There's actually more there's actually more redheads in Scotland than there is in Ireland.
I think there was a handful of red ones that were like his close guards. If you took notice of
a
that,
little bit.
Oh,
yeah.
a little bit.
but most of them were just whatever. Here, just
Yeah.
put a suit on, get over the fuck over there.
You know,
Right.
just further going with the stereotype that gingers have no souls. Because they're robots.
I don't know if you guys noticed this, but one of the robots, it's actually the robot that rips the guy's head off. That was
Warlock.
stunt coordinator Dick Warlock, who played Michael Myers in Halloween 2.
Yeah. He did a good job in that movie
yeah,
too.
dude.
Oh yeah.
Because even the shots with him, you could tell were shot like he was Michael Myers. Because like, there was some that were shot from his back, and all you saw was his outline. I'm like, so yeah, it gave that Carpenter feel.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, you may have played Michael Myers, but seriously, we needed one in this movie.
My question is, how have we not gotten a Halloween-themed movie villain simply named Dick Warlock?
I know.
That's a great name.
That is a great name.
It's like this man was born to be in horror movies.
He was. Dick Warlock.
Dick Warlock.
You're a dick, you Warlock.
That's what. You could say the same thing for Colonel Cochran. He's a dick and he's a warlock.
Well, looking at his name, I thought it was co-anal.
Again, it's Irish. It will never be pronounced how it looks.
Oh man.
Hey, and the guy who plays him, his name's Dan O'Hurley.
And honestly, Dan O'Hurley, I think he steals the show in this movie. I think his acting chops and like how he just chews up the scene. I think he delivers
He's got
the
that
best.
Vincent Price type
Yeah.
presence. It's just the suit, that demeanor. It could be like suave and smooth.
Smooth talking.
And
with the crowd.
he's got that really cool sounding voice. I mean, like, you're talking about
Oh,
Dick,
that low bass.
Yeah.
It's very smooth.
He's great. He's
yeah.
great in this movie.
you talk about Dick Warlock should be a name for a horror character. Well, how comes Dan O'Hurley wasn't even in that many horror movies? I mean, he was like another guy built for it.
Yeah, I mean, I've only known him in being in The Man from U.N.C.L.E. and the RoboCop series. That's all I really remember him from.
Oh wow, he was in that, dude. I didn't even put a correlation.
He was
It's
the old
like-
man in
Oh, yeah.
RoboCop. Yeah.
Dude, that's actually
You're
pretty cool.
fired!
You're fired!
He did do a voice in a Batman the Animated Series episode.
Okay, he did? All right, nice.
Yes.
He's got the voice for it.
Oh
Exactly.
yeah, he's the guy. He's got a great voice. And honestly, like looking at him, he reminds me an awful lot of an old horror host. Of course.
Yeah.
He looks a lot like Zachary.
Yeah.
He looks
Okay.
a lot like John Zachary. It's like these two could be brothers.
So now they're at the motel. They discover that the dad was there with the shipment and something had gone wrong. And then I guess at some point during that time span, he discovers of what they're trying to do, what they're really trying to do, the plot. And then it leads into the first implied sex scene between Tom Atkins and Stacey Nelskin.
Oh, I should get another room.
Where do you want to sleep, Dr. Chalice?
That's a stupid question.
That's a dumb question, Mr. Bitch.
That was actually in the script.
That was... Yeah. And then...
Was it, or was it another one of those brilliant like improv moments?
I don't know.
It's like they're very
I don't
convincing,
know.
aren't they?
I don't know. It's and then
It's like,
he
didn't you just bury your father?
Yeah.
Aren't you here to figure out what happened, why your father was murdered? You just put the man in the ground, what, a day ago?
And now you're banging his
Days ago?
daughter.
And now you're...
his daughter. It's almost a little too much.
like, well, that was sudden.
And then,
hey, you know what? People deal with grief in very different
they
ways.
do. No, they do. Some move on it quickly. Some don't. Some take years to get
Oh,
over
he
it.
moved on it quickly.
He moved on it quickly.
He did.
She didn't seem to object,
Yeah. And then later on, it goes into that scene with the homeless man as they have that conversation where he says, "This is their last Halloween. I know this is their last Halloween. They're up to something in that factory," leading into more of that unraveling of the mystery. They wouldn't hire me. They outsourced me, and this is where I am now. And he, obviously, that's implying he's going to get off next. And of course, they find his home in the junkyard, and Dick Warlock rips his fucking head off.
Yeah,
That's that moment where you're like, okay, these are not humans. You can't do that as a human being. There's something clearly up with these guys. We don't know what it is yet. Maybe they're aliens, maybe they're robots, but fuck, he ripped his head off.
He did, dude. It was fantastic.
And it looked good. Like, and it showed just enough through the shadows that it couldn't reveal the flaws. It looked like he was ripping his fucking head off. Like, it looked really fucking good. And going from there, it's just and then I guess what happens next? The other
death scene.
the other death scene
or the
involving
other sex scene.
the other death and sex scene.
Oh,
because they both happen
Well,
simultaneously.
we skipped a sex scene.
We did skip a
We skipped one.
Oh, right, she's getting out of the shower.
Yeah, he leaves.
Oh, and the towel,
He
yeah.
leaves.
Towel.
Yeah, he leaves, comes back. She comes in with at him with a towel. It's implied, and then it's like, I guess it's implied that later on they wake up again. Like,
They wake up again. The
night.
commercial comes on, and I'm glad at least he still acknowledges the annoyance of that commercial. God damn it, they're still playing that commercial.
So it wakes him up out of a dead sleep, and then he goes, he looks at her like, what's up?
Yeah. And then
Well, it's not even him. It's her. She initiates it. And he's even got that line. It's like, don't you feel tired in the least bit?
Well, yeah, when you're 20 years older than her, obviously.
Yeah, and then the other, the costume shop owner, she's got to stay another day in this forsaken town. She's reading a book. She notices the microchip on the ground, trying to fidget with it, and then all of a sudden the laser beam just, boom, bursts right through her mouth. Yeah. At the same time, they're having the sex scene. She's like, what was that? Who cares? And her face is just deformed.
Yeah, like the skin's peeled back and she's got a
Oh,
giant.
that
Yeah,
was
it's like-
nasty. She's got the red contacts in her eyes. Ugh.
That looked good too.
It did look good. That's one thing that this movie got right, was the prosthetics and makeup. It really did a good job.
Although when it got close, it
You can see some of the flaws.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It looked
Okay.
bad when it got close, but when it was just that first, like, whoa, what happened to her?
Her body's convulsing and shaking, like she's still clinging to life, and then the bug comes out of her mouth. Ugh.
The giant cricket.
What'd you call it before?
I said it looks like a weta.
A weta.
A weta, which is like this very, very large, very fat grasshopper that grows in New Zealand.
Okay.
It's like Peter Jackson's like special effects company, Weta Workshops. That's actually where they get their name from.
Okay.
Cool. It's good to know.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. And the coroner show up and they take her body away, and then
It's not even the corner. It's actually the company.
It's the company covering up the death scene. Like, oh yeah, she just had an accident, and we're configuring it right now. We're taking her back to the factory because that's where everything is. There's a hospital. There's a shop. There's
I'm just saying, when they bring the body out, if she's just okay, why do they wrap the head up like it was oozing something out?
I know, and then you introduced Dan O'Harely basically being shown up at that moment right now, like, oh, she's being taken care of right now. It's okay. I know you're a doctor, Tom Atkins, but we're gonna handle
We
her
have
right
excellent emergency facilities.
Yes, we do.
At the factory.
now. I know you're a doctor. You're a doctor.
What is he gonna use
but
fucking
it's okay.
magic to fix that face? It's fucked up.
Yeah,
And of course, it's at the factory.
it's at the factory. The factory's taking over.
There is no hospital. It's at the
Right.
factory.
There's just a couple dead shops and the factory.
Oh yeah, like they heavily imply that this town and the factory are in the middle of freaking nowhere.
Yeah. They have their own curfew every day. I'm sure there's the curfew.
I think Stacey Nielkin even has a line. She says, "Why would you have a factory in the middle of nowhere?"
Exactly. Yeah.
But it's gotta start somewhere.
But when you're murdering people and trying to cover it up, that's why the factory's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. Now there
Dun
is
dun dun.
there is a family that's introduced at some point. It was like a husband, a wife, and then a son. And this is kind of interesting. The movie does play with like America's. It's almost like a satirical moment where Dan O'Harely's character and his beliefs in Samhain, and then the American consumption of Halloween. Like, this family encapsulates consumerization of the holiday Halloween in America. Like, oh, this guy's great. You know, like,
this is
we
our
buy
top
all the
seller.
novelties from these guys. Halloween is like their big marketing plan. We support them all the time. This guy, he does everything right. He can't do wrong. He invented the sticky toilet paper. This guy's been around for so long. Yeah, sticky toilet paper. This guy's the father of the gag. I mean, we come here, we support him. We love the mask that he's making. I mean, America just loves this guy. Like, it becomes satirical at that moment. And this is just playing into more of Dan O'Harely's strength, what he's trying to do. Eliminating, like, American children because they've lost the Samhain roots.
Lost the spirit.
They've lost the true spirit of Samhain. That's crazy. This plot is absurd.
This movie is. If you think about it as a whole,
It is. There's a lot of absurdities, but it's so fun. It's so entertaining.
It is entertaining. It really is. They have the tour of the mask making, and those masks were made by Don Post Studios at the time, and I think it went over to another company. It was bought out years later down the road. But if you have one of those 3 masks, chances are, one of the original masks, chances are it was actually made during the movie. You probably even saw it in the factory scenes during the tour scenes as it was being made. That's really cool. It's really awesome.
actually, I thought that whole process was really cool. Them actually showing them mixing and
I
dumping.
know.
Pouring the latex.
They did it to make
Yeah.
basically make filming cheaper, to have it filmed at the studio to be less costly.
Actually showing them make the masks.
Showing them make the masks at the actual factory, then like building their own factory and like imitating making the mask. It was cheaper.
And why not?
Why not?
And the factory used is actually a dairy.
Yes, a powdered milk factory. Yeah,
Powdered milk factory.
it's a
yes.
powdered milk factory with a big shamrock slapped right on the side of it.
Don't we have a dairy here in Pennsylvania with a big shamrock as its label?
Good question.
Clover Farms.
Yeah,
Clover. There we go.
Wait, or is that the dairy or is that the winery? Oh, no, that's Clover Hill.
Clover Hill.
The
Yeah,
winery
Clover
is
Hill.
Clover Hill. That's right.
They reveal more about what happened to the one casualty. And it's like, oh, don't worry, she's being flown to a hospital away from here, and I'm going to refund her entire order on me, as well as your order that we found with your dad, who's now dead, but we're not going to reveal that to you. But anyway, we're going to refund his order on the house. And the family is like behind, like, yes, this guy is amazing. I love him so much. Isn't he great? And he's just, and then Dan O'Harely's just smiling about this whole thing, like, I got them in my pocket. They're playing into my grand scheme.
You're just playing up this whole Bond villain thing, aren't you?
He is a Bond
absolutely.
villain. I didn't
He
think of that
is.
until
He
now.
really
The
is.
cheesy smile, the constant, like, always happy demeanor, even when he's saying something condescending.
He's super charismatic.
Oh yeah, he's very charismatic. They find the guy's car, and then when Stacey Nelkins gets close to the car, she's already stopped by the henchmen. Like, oh yes, they're just they're doing their job, aren't they?
Oh, trade secrets.
Trade
Protecting
secrets. Trade secrets. And then he just gives like that. He loses his grin and just goes right to a serious place. Like, I'm onto you. You're onto something, and I don't like it. Right now, so several days have passed, and Halloween's the next day at this moment. Because it went from the 23rd, because it's an 8-day span. It goes from the 23rd and then to the 31st. But I think it's October 30th at this moment right now. They go back to the motel. He's talking to the coroner, trying to find out more about this body. And she's like, well, we still haven't found anything yet.
You mean while he's
car
hitting
parts.
on her the
While
whole
he's
time?
hitting on her the
Oh, of
whole
course.
time.
Oh, yes, I owe you lots of dinner.
I'm playing the field. I'm playing the field. I got this young girl with me right now, and I got you over the phone promising you dinners and maybe implied sex later on.
So no wonder he's divorced.
No wonder he's divorced.
Dude, he's starting to become the town bicycle, all right?
But then we get a good shot of after the phone hangs up, there's a wire tracing from the phone leading to thinking they probably traced the call to that coroner. Okay, well now this person he's talking to knows too much. Let's send some henchmen over there to eventually kill her. And I didn't pick that up on first when I first watched this movie, but then it leads more into the 1948 field, the security cameras, the wiretaps. They're keeping a close eye on everybody to make sure that nothing gets out. Everything stays contained.
What was that year again?
What's that?
What was that year again?
1948.
Why that specific
You want
year?
to repeat that?
The book The book. I'm talking about the book. It was called 1984, but it was the book was called
1984.
1984, but it was written in 1948.
Oh, okay.
That's why I'm referring to. It was written in 1948, implying this is what 1984 is going to be like.
All right.
Yeah. So sorry I didn't make that transition. With that,
I was more curious, like, why that specific year?
Yeah. Just because the whole Big Brother is watching.
I just felt backwards.
Yeah.
It just sounded backwards.
Exactly. So then I guess Stacey Nelkin gets captured. He leaves her alone, and then all of a sudden the henchmen are after Tom Atkins. There's that one shot with the.
You got the main one where they go and kill the coroner now.
Well, that's a little bit later.
Ah, okay.
That's a little bit later.
I forget.
They do that, but that's a little bit later though, because I think
You said doo-doo.
Really? That's what you're going away with at that? The whole doo-doo?
the whole dude thing.
Well, this whole thing reeks like shit.
Not all of it. Not all of it.
Just most of it?
Yeah,
and
most of it. So then he's now in the factory trying to find Stacey Nelkin, and then it's so brief, but then when he comes upon that one robot, you don't know it's a robot, but it's a woman that's like hemming together a scarf or something. I thought that was a real person at first, and he's responding to her, and she's not saying anything. Then he knocks her, and the head comes off, and you reveal all the gears that it's a robot. Like, that actually looked really cool. It actually kind of freaked me out a little bit because it was like in shadow. You could barely see her, and then you could see half of her, and half of her was in shadow, and then
Now, I got a problem
Really
with
neat.
that scene
okay.
because he's like, why aren't you responding to me? Clearly, she looks like she's 80 fucking years old. Maybe she can't hear.
well,
true.
obviously.
He needs to know answers now. Where's Stacey Nelkin? Where is she? What's going on here? And then
Kidding me? He probably need another drink. It's been like 5 minutes.
I know.
Probably a drink and a smoke. Like, fuck it. Let's just.
Maybe he's already had one too many. Maybe this is all hallucination brought about by booze and pneumonia.
He gets into the fight with the one henchman. He punches him, and you get the sound effect, the cheesy 80s sound effect. Punches him. He gets in that fight with the robot. He punches through his chest, and he's oozing orange juice.
Yeah, that orange blood. I'm like, wait, that looks like orange juice. I had to
It's
look it up.
orange
It
juice.
is orange juice.
It is.
Oddly enough, afterwards, I wanted some orange juice.
Oh, he's like pulling the wires out and everything with his hand just covered in that orange ooze, and then he just gets captured.
And hold on.
Okay.
No wonder he was drinking. He knew what was coming.
Okay, now it makes sense. You said drinking. I'm thinking, why the fuck isn't he like, what the fuck, my hand hurts like hell? He's punching a robot.
Oh,
Punching a
it's
solid
because he's been
robot.
drinking. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
he can't
he's
feel it.
drinking.
He's gotten numb.
He's been drinking, yes.
Dude's been drinking a decent portion of this movie, and no one said a damn thing. He's driving, doing all this other shit, and you're saying fighting a robot was the first time you maybe even thought about that the drinking was the issue?
Yes. Oh,
No, he's saying drinking is the explanation.
Oh, why
for the non-reaction.
Right. I love how when Dan O'Harely comes into that scene, he's like holding the head of the old woman. Like, this was such a rare piece, such a shame. Oh, Dr. Challis, how are you? Like, just like being an asshole to him. Like, I knew you were there the whole time, but you ruined one of my novelties, one of my great creations, and one of my collector's items. And here you are destroying my henchmen, and now I'm gonna make you pay for this shit.
I would have been more impressed. You punched through that robot's chest? Come on over. Let's have another drink.
We'll put you in this holding cell. It'll be Halloween soon, and we'll make you watch Halloween. We'll put you in one of our masks. We'll make you wear one of our masks and reveal the plot.
Yeah, I was like, after revealing the plot, we're going to now capture you.
Yeah.
No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
Honestly, I thought about that. I'm like, why is he sitting in a room with a TV with a giant clock? And I'm like, this feels oddly familiar.
Because it's a Bond villain.
I never made the correlation, and then I'm like,
I never made that either.
because dude, I'm like, they even look like seatbelts.
No,
when
I'm
they have
going-
them strapped down. I'm like, dude, you could reach behind you, hit that button.
I'm going to put him in an over-elaborate, easily escapable situation and just assume it all went to plan.
Now,
Too good.
now after everything, I can't remember. Did they actually have like a Die Hard scene? But I think this came out way before Die Hard.
Is it when he's calling the vents?
Yeah, like
He's calling
the whole
vents?
shot, and everything. I'm like, is this before or after Die Hard?
This is
'Cause
before Die Hard.
Now I know where they stole it from.
Tom Atkins in Halloween 3. The first John McClane.
Oh yeah.
The first John McClane.
Now I have a machine gun.
Ho, ho, ho.
I feel like if Die Hard had happened on Halloween, it would have a different feel.
Yeah, you get the computers in that one shot, then you get the image of the piece of Stonehenge as pieces are getting removed. It's great camera work. All of this is really top-notch camera work. That's what I love about it. And then you get to the famous demonstration time scene. Yeah. Yes, that costume maker, her death was a misfire, but this one is going to be more authentic to what I want to happen. So then they get the American family thrown into that room with the TV and make sure you put your mask on. Let's show the commercial. And then that catchy jingle happens, annoying catchy jingle happens, and you just see, watch the pumpkin, flash, 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 watch the pumpkin.
I thought they were going to have a seizure.
I thought so too. The parents are laughing. The kid's holding his head as the pumpkin starts looking more and more deformed.
It's like melting
It's
to his
melting his head. He doesn't even scream. He doesn't do anything. He's just like succumbing to this accident that's happening to him. And all of a sudden, his head's melting. He collapses, and the family's like, "Oh God, something might be wrong with him." Out come the crickets, and the rattlesnakes and everything, and she just faints. And as the music, as the theme song is pulsating, it's just getting louder, faster, and as the dad just is like screaming, trying to get out, and then the rattlesnake bites his leg, and he's implied, he's dead. Tom Atkins is watching this like, "Oh God, this is horrifying. Oh no, oh God, this is what's gonna happen." Like, the room is now filled with bugs and snakes. It's horrifying. It really is. When I first saw that, I'm like, shit.
It is a little disturbing, and I admit that watching horror movies, it always kind of bugs me when I see it. It always kind of bugs me when I see a kid get it. It's like that kid wasn't an asshole.
He wasn't.
He
just really wanted a jack-o'-lantern mask. He wanted that one. He said, no, that hasn't gone through processing. Have this one that's already finished and final tested. What is in the final testing room? Oh, that's not for your eyes.
Volatile chemicals. It's volatile chemicals.
Yeah.
I thought about that when he says that, and then watching this kid put the mask on, I'm like, well, what the fuck are those chemicals? And my kid just put that on there.
Yeah. Hello. Even that family really wasn't that bad of a family.
No, they weren't. They weren't.
They were like over the top. They could come off as annoying, but they still came across as good people.
I thought it was a saturation of American culture.
Yeah.
Like, this is like maybe like the typical American family loving Halloween and loving novelties and things like that.
But who doesn't love Halloween?
I know, who doesn't love Halloween? In fact, then we get a montage of a more state-wise epidemic of what's going to happen. Like, all the kids are rushing to the stores to buying the masks. This is where you feel that for the first time in the movie, it feels like it's on a nationwide scale. All the states are now in jeopardy. All these kids across state, like in not just California, but in Ohio, in Louisiana, in Florida, they're all flocking to the local costume stores to buy the masks. And they actually find some creative ways for the trick-or-treaters to wear these masks. Like, I saw like a pirate with a pumpkin on it. I saw like a mummy with a skeleton mask on it. They actually find creative ways to get these kids to use the masks with their costumes. That's kind of cool. But you feel like now everybody's at stake. It's not just this poor innocent American family that was just victim to a madman's plot. It's now everybody that's now in jeopardy. And then you get the reveal plot of what Cochran wants to do as he reveals it to Tom Atkins. He has the mask on the side. Like, I would love the skull mask. That's my favorite. I would have loved to have owned that one. Just going into the roots of Samhain. I'm glad he said Samhain correctly.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad he said that correctly. And then he just goes, "Oh, and by the way, Doctor, happy Halloween." I can't do his voice, but it's so good. It's such a great monologue. He just chews the scenery up. It's so nice.
It was lit really well and shot well when he
Yes.
says "Have a happy Halloween,"
Mhm.
and you hear the original John Carpenter Halloween piano
Yeah,
playing.
the movie's playing on.
I thought that was
thought
really
that was nice, too,
appropriate.
yeah.
The giveaway is only like 2 hours away. The clock is ticking. I did think that him breaking the TV with his 2 feet was a little too easy. There's no way that TV would the screen would smash so easily. It would just knock over and would break, or he wouldn't even see it. And not to mention the first try with the mask, he gets it off, throws it over the camera. First try.
That actually happened on the first try.
Did it really happen the first? I thought it took several tries to do that. I'm like, oh, come on.
They did it in one shot, but he's
Okay.
like, there's no way that happened that way, so they wanted multiple on top of it
Okay.
to be like, all right, but they used that first shot anyway.
They got the first shot. Oh, wow, I didn't know that. Okay. He breaks free. He gets out of the room. He tries to contact his wife. It's like, and at least he actually is caring about his kids. Like, you have to tell the kids to get rid of the masks. They're gonna die. And the wife is like, you're an asshole. You're just jealous because I bought masks that they love and you don't. Go to hell. Hang up.
No, didn't she ask, are you drinking again?
Yeah, are you drinking again?
Well,
No,
duh,
I'm
obviously.
sober. For once, I'm sober. This shit is ridiculous. Tell the kids to get rid of the masks as the robots are coming by. He's got to remain a low profile. Now,
At this point, I totally forgot he had kids. I'm like, cool. Also, he's calling like, oh shit, he does have kids.
yeah, and they have the masks. I'm like, no, they're gonna die. Get the masks away from them. Oh God.
I just remember that scene. What is wrong with you?
Yeah, you're an asshole. You're just jealous that I bought masks that they love and you don't. Get out of here.
And we just witnessed this grand evil plan, and he witnessed a murder, a horrific murder.
Yeah.
Honey, die!
Yeah,
What kind of doctor are you?
I mean, honestly, why shouldn't she believe him? This is ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
She has every reason to yell at him right now.
Oh yeah.
It makes sense. The henchmen, they find the coroner, they kill her like easily with a drill gun, and actually like the shot construction, how you don't see her like getting the drill through the head. It's just a back shot through the threshold of the door. The henchman just shoves the drill through her head.
You can actually
and
see
then
it
she
through the
goes limp.
shadows too, because
Yeah.
you can see the drill coming down through the shadow into.
Right.
That's when her
As I
body-
said, great cinematography, great camera work and setup. He rescues Stacey Nelkin. Now, this is one thing I'm going to bring up. Some people have said when they've seen this movie that she was always a robot. No, she wasn't. She was not always a robot. She was strapped down on a flat table.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
she doesn't say a single line after she gets rescued. The henchmen don't say anything. She's not saying anything. In fact, her facial movements are very simple. They had a whole 20 hours to basically hardwire her system to basically kill her and convert her into a robot. So she was turned into a robot. She was never a robot to begin with. This guy had sex with a robot. No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
Or what if her dad, who they said worked at the factory, actually made her there, and they just rewired her?
Oh. I never thought of that.
An
That's a
elaborate
good point.
ploy to get that doctor there to fuck his day up.
Right.
One doctor.
Okay, I didn't think
what
of that. That's actually a good point.
I expect you to
That's
die,
but why?
Cochrane.
That-
Oh,
but-
sorry, Challis.
But her dad did used to work at the factory, right? Because he
No,
has his.
no.
Cause,
he has shop.
He owns a shop. Yeah,
Okay.
right,
He
right.
ordered from the factory.
He
That's-
ordered. Yes,
okay, because they
exactly.
go back to his shop and.
Yes, they go back to his shop. They look at his record book and see when he was making a trip out to Santa Mira, him never coming back, him never maintaining communication with anybody. He was on the run. He discovered what happened, and now he's dead.
Okay.
So he didn't work at the factory. He had his own shop that he was buying masks from. Just like everybody else, in this town, they got shipments to come in, and they're all late. The henchman discovering the mask off of the security camera, malfunction, camera 2. You can't see the eye holes down below. Clearly, it didn't just go dead. There's something clearly blocking its path.
In that shot, when they're showing them pull the mask of the camera, the other one just walks up oh, here's the event cover.
Oh,
It was
God.
and when you come to the big reveal, finding out that they're robots, and then you're actually seeing how the thought process goes. Yeah, it's very simple things that are happening. Literally, oh yeah, here.
Yeah, there you go. There's the scene where there's really not a whole lot of dialogue. It's basically Tom Atkins trying to enact a revenge plan to basically destroy this whole operation. Now that he knows that the giveaway is going to happen at 9, he's only got some time to work with. Stacey Nelkin's rescued. They're together. She's not saying anything. And then they use the microchips and the commercial to play against them and to destroy all the robots and all the equipment. And then you don't get a lot of special effects in this movie. But it's at this moment where you realize they look horrible. Yeah. The special effects look bad.
You get a laser light show and fireworks at this point.
Fireworks. And I love how Cochrane is like, oh shit, he just killed all my henchmen. but then he looks back at him with a smile, with a little clap, like, okay, you've won this battle, but you're going to lose the war.
Cheers to you. Cheers to you.
Cheers to you. And then I don't know how this piece of Stonehenge works, but it just starts glowing. I guess like malfunction, overload, too much magic, too much stone power. It turns him into stone with a laser beam.
Oh, is that what that was? Dude, I always thought it was just a weird looking face.
The computers are like making a big laser circle, and then they shoot together and creating stone. It's weird. What the hell is happening right now?
It was an homage to Boris Karloff in Die Monster Die. I have no idea if that's true, but that's what it was like.
That scene didn't remind me of Invasion of the Body Snatchers trying to sabotage the operations. And then they leave the factory, and oh my god, look at that horrible green screen. Just that one shot of them running away from the burning factory as it's on fire. It looks horrible.
Wait, I didn't even pay attention to that part.
Yeah,
I just saw them running.
It's like CGI fire, CGI. Like, it's the worst green screen you could ever imagine as they're running across the train tracks, getting to the car, and then you see another shot of them leaving the motel. More of the town is like on fire, or the factory's on fire still. It's more bad green screen. Why couldn't they just film it regularly? I don't know. I don't know why they had to use why they have to use a green screen. It just looks so ugly. And then you get the reveal. Stacey Nelkin turns on Tom Atkins. She's a robot.
She turned on him 3 times earlier, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
Now she's here to turn him off.
Yo, if you take notice, the whole time, like, all of a sudden she just like starts staring intently and just starts trying to choke him while driving. He swerve, then she makes him swerve off the road. Hits that tree so hard, the fucking trunk just pops open.
Yeah.
I lost it. I'm like, wait, what? How? What in reality will that trunk actually pop open? You've got to hit that so hard.
Well, unless when he hit, I mean, there weren't airbags, right?
No.
There weren't airbags.
Yeah, this is 1982. There's no airbags.
Dude, he's driving a boat. That thing's a tank, all right? That's not...
If he had slid forward, maybe he accidentally hit the trunk open button.
I thought it would have been more of a pole, but...
Oh, man.
So this is what we get for trying to bring logic into this.
I know.
Exactly. You got the arm on the door, and then her arm is off, the wiring's working, and then he knocks her head off. That's reminiscent of Alien, if you ask me.
That's probably why the trunk was open. He grabbed the tire iron out to knock her head off.
Yes, that's exactly.
He did it. He might have enjoyed a little bit of light choking that she was doing.
It did attach itself from the door to get on his throat, and it does attack him like 3 times.
3 times!
It attacks him 3 times! The robot attacks him 3 times.
That rule of 3 again.
Now, there's a bit of irony because Stacey Nelkin was actually almost cast as a replicant in Blade Runner. So she was almost an android in one movie, and then she got to be an android in another movie. I thought that was kind of neat. And then Tom Atkins is just running. He's just running for his life, and then he gets back to the same gas station at the very end. Now, he makes the smart move to get on the phone to just call somebody. Like, if this goes on, millions of kids are going to die. Like, and he's even going to such extent, like saying, say it's a bomb threat. I don't care. Do what you have to do. I can't prove it, but just say it's a bomb threat. Now, there's a scene where the car pulls up and then the kids get out of the car to get trick-or-treating. I didn't see a parent driving that car. Were those kids driving that car the whole time?
Probably. That witch.
It's an 80s movie. I'm like,
that witch looked like she was the tallest out of the 3. I'm like, she's like, oh fuck the TV.
Do you have a license? Should you be driving right now? I don't think so, but I didn't see a parent.
Halloween.
Well, clearly we have to follow Tom Atkins' example, and you have to have sex with them 3 times before you ask them their age.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Okay. Now here's another 3. Another 3. Okay, so they get rid of the one. They get rid of the one commercial as the commercial's playing. Happy Halloween. We're having some technical difficulties. Please stay on the air. They just turn the channel to another one, and it's the same thing. And then the kid switches to another channel. It's the same damn commercial. He goes, Channel 3. Tell him to take it off Channel 3. Rule 3. Take it off Channel 3. Just please stop it. Just stop it. Stop it.
But to be fair, there were only 3 channels in the 80s. Even if you think about that.
And there were 3 kids.
Yeah. So
3 kids, 3 channels, 3 times the charm, or 3 times not the charm, because I love that scene where the commercial, it's panning back and forth between the commercial pulsating and him just yelling, stop it, stop it. And he just screams at the top of his lungs, stop it. Cut the camera. Cut to black. Right to credits. That's brilliant.
It's like we don't know.
We don't know if he succeeded or if he failed. I hope he failed because that's more of an interesting story. that millions of kids are now dead. He did everything he could to stop it from happening.
That a drunk's a failure?
What, the alcoholic doctor couldn't save the day?
Oh my god! It's just that sometimes the heroes or the anti-heroes don't win. You know, the hero doesn't get the girl at the very end. He kills her. Sometimes the evil villain's plan comes to fruition at the very end, and there's nothing we can do to stop it. Sometimes we just can't win. And I like to believe that he didn't win. Now, originally, they were going to have, during the credit scene, no music and just the sound of millions of kids screaming as they're dying from this commercial. But they changed it to the iconic theme song of the movie to have it be more ambiguous, to maybe be more of a mystery. Did he win? Did he fail? So
Honestly,
I like that better.
yeah,
I feel like he failed though.
I feel like he failed.
'Cause
There's no way. I feel like they would have taken off of a third channel. Like it's pulsating so loud. Those kids are probably, their brains are melting right now in that moment, and he's screaming, "Stop it!" And those kids are dying in front of him. I'm pretty sure he failed.
Yeah, like even if let's say he saved half, he still failed.
Yeah.
There's no way because like
Right.
even the 10 seconds the kids already saw. We saw how quick it happened to that American family. Mm-hmm. So it's like it was actually pulsating and louder through the commercial, so it probably happening quicker.
It's pretty fast acting too. Yeah, it didn't take like a minute or two. It took like 20 seconds for it to basically start making an effect on the kids and killing them. Mm-hmm. So that's Halloween 3. It's got some great things and it's got some really bad things. Mm-hmm. It's a very middle of the road movie. Like I said before, audiences hated this movie, and they dumped any plan to turn this into an anthology series. And then 10 years later, we get Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. To let people know, hey guys, he's back. He's coming back.
Was it actually a full decade?
What, Return of Michael
Return of
Myers?
Michael, was it an
No,
early
that was
90s movie?
No, I think that was 88.
It wasn't the 80s? Okay.
Yeah.
That was 87 or 88.
Well, I guess it was 88 because it makes sense 10 years after Halloween, the first one. So it makes sense if it was 10 years after that, because they do mention that movie. 10 years ago, he did all this. But, yeah, they wanted people to know, hey, guys, he's coming back. He's coming back.
We done fucked up. Here you go.
I respect John Carpenter for wanting to take it away from the Michael Myers saga because it would just lead to more and more disastrous sequels down the way. I mean, Tommy Lee Wallace called sequels a disease in Hollywood, saying that there's nothing really good that comes out of the majority of them. And that's why he signed on to this project, because he realized it was so different and so out of this world from what the first two installments were. Mm-hmm. And I give him the respect saying, you know, Michael Myers, he died in Halloween 2. He died. Let that be the end of it. Let's move on and try something else.
Well, Tommy Lee Wallace was also supposed to direct Halloween 2 originally.
He was, yes.
But because Friday the 13th became so popular and they said we want to bump up the gore, he didn't want anything to do with gore. He didn't feel, like you said, the need for a sequel. Because really at that time, you actually had a lot more remakes than sequels.
You did.
And if you had sequels, they were horror movies. Like, you know, Boris Karloff did, 3 Frankenstein movies?
Yeah.
And
There's
then,
a lot of them, something like that.
And then there were how many Dracula movies, and, you know, it was... But it was remakes, mostly.
They just keep pumping them out,
Yeah.
Exactly. Just what was happening in the 80s was happening in the 50s and 60s, too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, even the 40s.
And what's happening now? We had, like, full cinematic universes loaded with sequels.
Yeah.
It's like Universal was, like, the first people to do that.
They were.
Because we had, like, the monsters crossing over, and we had sequel after sequel after sequel, the same actor in the same role.
What's the new gimmick? This takes place during World War II.
Right.
You know? But, yeah.
There's actually a book they wrote for it. Like, it's the novelization of the book. I mean, of the movie, sorry. Despite the fact that the film did really bad, the book itself actually did really well.
Okay.
They actually had to re-release it in 1984 so that everyone could get a hold of it. And it was actually surprising. I'm like, so what, you're telling me the book's a lot better than this? And then I found out because they actually used more of the original script.
Okay.
So, like...
Nigel Neal's a good author.
So does that mean more or fewer robots?
I don't know. I'm kind of curious. I might actually pick it up. I'm not going to admit that I picked it up, but I might. So
I might have to look for that. I might look for that.
Because now I'm curious. I'm like, well, watching this fucking train wreck, I wanted to see like what was like the bigger differences between this and the book. Because like if they're saying they stuck to the original script, well, obviously there's going to be big differences. And then, like, if it did so well that they had to re-release it, yeah, why not? It could be a good time. I could have just wasted, a month and a half of my time.
Yeah, the movie, even though it did make its budget back, I think it made like $14 million overall. That's because people flocked to the movie theaters to see the movie opening weekend. Second week, it tanked because everyone now knew the truth about what the movie really was. And that, like I said, we've been saying, the biggest failure of this movie was the marketing. And I would have loved to have seen, if the movie had been successful, if people had embraced the idea that Michael Myers was dead and they tried to make an anthology series out of it, we could have honestly had a couple of years down the road where we would have had different directors coming in to direct a different anthology Halloween movie that was different from the other ones. It could have led to more creative filmmaking and more creative ingenuity.
See, we almost have the exact opposite problem now, because we have a ton of sequels to horror movies that had absolutely, originally, nothing to do with their original movie.
Yeah.
But then they figured, oh, it's an independent film, we'll just do a couple of reshoots and make it part of this franchise. Like half the Hellraiser movies. Half the Hellraiser movies are not Hellraiser movies. They just decided, hey, put Pinhead in here for a moment and we'll make it a Hellraiser movie.
Right,
We'll just
right.
capitalize on the name.
Oh, God, most of those are trash, like you said last time.
Oh, yeah.
Just watch the first two. Don't watch any of the others.
Right. The third one's kind of fun.
Is that the one where he, like, goes to a discotheque and he, like, kills a bunch of people at a rave?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Because the guy who owns the club becomes Pistonhead Cenobite.
Yeah, that's right. Oh my god.
Wow.
And he's making
Laser
very
discs.
sexual puns. And,
Oh yeah.
Oh my.
I remember seeing, like, a bunch of CDs, like, flying in midair and they just all, like, lash into someone's head.
The DJ becomes like a CD Cenobite who's like shooting laser discs.
Dude, that was some lazy writing.
Oh, my God.
But that one at least was, I think, originally intended to be a Hellraiser sequel. I'll give that one the credit, though. Everything after that, I'm pretty sure, was not originally intended to be a Hellraiser sequel.
Oh, my God.
No, but I agree. That would have been great if we had gotten like the original plan for like the Halloween sequels to be anthologies.
Yeah.
For it to be like a different story.
Oh yeah,
happening
I
within
would've
this
loved
universe.
to
It would have been really cool because, like, honestly, if this one would have played out well, it probably could have just gone in all different directions and at one point bring back Michael. But
They could have done that years down the road. He would have eventually resurfaced because he was too popular to just stay dead.
And it also could give more work for other filmmakers.
It could have.
More actors, because there would be a guaranteed Halloween movie that would come out every year.
Yeah.
And that's where I think the name still could be important. Like, keep the name Halloween, but maybe say something like I said earlier, Halloween Presents Return of Michael Myers, or Halloween Presents Season of the Witch.
But yeah, I think because we had already had 2 with Michael Myers in it, and it had not really been marketed properly. I think
Studio was stubborn.
that's how it failed. Because
Plus-
like nowadays we love anthology things. Like
We do.
like everyone loves like the Simpsons Treehouse of Horrors. I mean, it's the same cast, but they do like 3 or 4 different stories, and it's something different every year.
Like Doherty's Trick or Treat. I mean, that's a beloved anthology horror movie.
Yeah. And of course we have like anthology television series now, like American Horror Story.
Yes.
Every year it's something different. We get even the same cast in most cases, but it's still different characters and a completely different plot line.
Channel Zero. I miss Channel Zero.
the new Creep Show.
Yes. Yeah, new Creep Show on... is that Shudder?
Yeah.
That's Shudder, okay.
That's the only reason I bought it again.
It's like even the kids anthology stuff is coming back. Like we just had a movie about scary stories to tell in the dark, and we have
It.
That's not really anthological.
Are You Afraid of the Dark, I think.
Are You Afraid of the Dark is coming out.
That's supposed to be coming
That's
out.
coming out
Yeah.
soon.
Actually, you can watch the first episode free. I think it's on YouTube.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, because I guess it was there. Like, we brought this back. We're gonna let you guys see the first episode, and then you gotta go to Nickelodeon.
I gotta look that up. Let's check it out.
I think another thing was they thought of it too late.
Yeah.
Because it was Halloween 1 and 2, you already established that this was the franchise. So that it's almost like being in a current that's going one way, and then all of a sudden you're saying, okay, well, I'm going to go against the current.
Yeah.
And people didn't know what to expect with
exactly.
no talking. And the third movie, you'd probably be like, why are you doing this now?
Right.
We like what you have. So
If they would have started with the second movie and then worked their way forward instead of doing the sequel to Carpenter's with Michael and then worked away that way, it probably would have came out better than going, well, you've got a really, really badass killer here, but by the way, we got robots and masks now.
yeah.
See, they should have done Season of the Witch and then done Halloween 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, they could have revealed it that maybe Michael Myers has one of like these masks.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
that
mask
is-
came from Silver Shamrock.
Oh!
Maybe it's a prototype for something different.
That would have been cool. That's neat.
Or maybe he's one of the robots.
Maybe,
He's
a robot.
maybe it's
Michael
actually a
Myers is
robot.
the robot.
That's why he's surviving all the gunshots, all the knife
Exactly.
stabbing and the fire.
I shot him 6 times.
He was a robot the whole time.
But he didn't bleed the orange.
Plus, he grew up.
He did grow up. They swapped the kid.
While he was in the mental asylum the whole time, that's what he was doing,
Yeah.
becoming a robot.
Well, the mental asylum, it's part of that emergency branch that they have.
Yeah.
Because that factory has everything.
The factory is doing everything.
So
wait.
Loomis was probably one of the workers who accidentally let him out. I was like, oh, fuck, I gotta get him back. How am I gonna do this?
Wait, they did establish Hattonfield's in Illinois and Santa Mira's in Northern California. Though.
Yeah.
He's a robot, all right?
Fuck continuity.
Guys, we're delving too deep into this. The studio's gonna come after us with robots.
We're thinking about this too much.
We're thinking too much. Favorite scenes? Should we do favorite scenes?
Sure.
I'm betting yours is probably the 3 sex scenes back to back.
See, I don't even have to say it. Honestly, I didn't really... I'm not going to say I hated this movie, but I didn't really like it either. I mean, I can watch it and see that it's on, but it's not a go-to Halloween movie for me. I respect it. I respect the idea behind it with the anthology. But like I said, I was confused at the antagonist. I didn't know if he was an alien, if he was a warlock, like why the robots, if it's called Season of the Witch. I think
there are no witches.
There are no witches.
Except the mask.
There is no magic. I thought like Season of the Witch is a really great title.
Mm-hmm, it is.
And it fits so well with Halloween. I thought, man, like how bad could this be if the masks were cursed with magic? But no, they had pieces of Stonehenge that had magic beams. I was like, really?
Look, any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic.
Yeah,
Unless you're in Discworld, then any sufficiently advanced magic is indistinguishable from technology. This is the perfect marriage of both of those.
Because when I hear a witch, I'm thinking there's an element that's a threat that you can't really fight or you don't really know how to stop. And here it was just a guy.
Yeah, I think they were playing off the fact that Halloween was really popular, and George Romero's movie Season of the Witch was really popular. So why not use 2 titles that are really popular?
Market that, make
Market
it sound
that,
familiar, and people go, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
That's very possible. With everything that I just said, like I said before, I don't hate the movie. It's just not a go-to for me. But if I see it's on, I can watch it. Do I have to walk away at times? Yeah, I can't watch it the whole way through. I do find it boring at a lot of parts. It does show its age, but I mean, hey, it happens. All movies aren't perfect like that, and with the money you deal with. But I gotta say that the most disappointing scene is when the kid dies. I was like, that's it? Yeah, I thought we'd see more. I thought the mask would have a little more power to it. And I mean, like when you get the close up that something's going on and the mask is actually moving while his hands are on, you see the melding. I'm like, all right, well, what else is happening? And then you just get all the crickets and then the fully grown snake, and I just thought that was a letdown.
Okay.
I was actually disappointed, and I said, that's it. I didn't feel scared in that scene. I didn't feel scared throughout any of the movie, really.
Okay.
But do you have a scene that you like?
The closest thing was seeing Stacey Nielkin naked.
I told you!
All right.
He called it. Oh, God.
What about you, John?
Okay, for me, yes, this movie does have a ton of flaws. I when it's on, I do watch it. I do like most of the pacing. There are some weak spots where it does drag a bit. The great things about this movie is the score, the cinematography, the acting. I love the grand scale of everything. Even though it does have an absurd plot, it was poorly marketed, and it does have some very, very dated special effects. My favorite scene is probably the last 10 minutes. The last 10 minutes of the movie where it's revealed that Stacey Nelkin is an android and the hero is not succeeding in anything he's doing. But I do love the tension that is being ratcheted up with him on the phone, announce that it's a bomb threat, just get this off the air right now. The kids are turning through the channels. They're watching the commercial with the masks on. And it's really the best moment of Tom Atkins' acting in the movie, even though he does a great job overall. Him just desperately staring at the TV without a mask on, just like, please, it's on the third channel. Please get it off right now. You can see the desperation in his voice. He's really trying to stop this from happening. And that big scream, stop it, at the very end. I think when I first saw that, my jaw was on the ground. My jaw was touching the ground, and then it just goes to black. I'm like, oh God, did he fail? Oh my God, are they all dead? Like, I actually thought that, like, when I first saw it, because I had never seen the movie before, but then when I saw that scene, like, that shit was fucking creepy. And I did like the scene with Buddy, the death scene with Buddy and the snakes coming out. I did like how it doesn't show you a lot, it shows you enough. And then the tragic ending to the family, and then the commercial just getting louder and pulsating. It's ratcheting up the tension. I like that. But my favorite is the last 10 minutes. In terms of my least favorite scene, I guess it's really the portion after when they... I think it's really the whole plot with the coroner. The coroner going back and forth with the phone calls, and then this investigation with, like, the car parts and how there was no human being that lit up in that car fire. It just felt a little unnecessary, and I felt like her death was very unnecessary. Like, they could have just not even had that involved. It probably just felt like wasted, padded time.
So pretty much you're saying her character was unnecessary.
Her character was unnecessary. They could have just had, like, something in the beginning, and then, they make their assumption, and then it just doesn't get brought up again. I don't know. Like, they could have done something better to tighten up the pacing with that. And I really thought that towards the ending, towards my favorite part, the special effects, they stick out like a sore thumb. They are so dated. That is some bad green screen. It takes me out. It takes me out of the experience at times. Like, you guys were doing so good with the camera work and the shot construction, and then you just have this really tired green screen in the background.
Is it green screen or is it?
It looked like green screen.
Is it rear projection?
I don't know, but it looked like green screen. It looked very noticeable green screen with, like, this fake fire in the background. I don't think that factory would have lit up so quickly like that.
It's magic.
It's magic.
I don't have to explain.
It's magic. Exactly. It's all magic. So, that's my 2 cents. I do watch it. I respect it for what it is. Is it great? No. Is it terrible? Absolutely not. It's not. I can't say this is a terrible movie, but I can't say it's really great. It's very mixed bag. It's very in the middle of the road for me. I love the score. The score is awesome. That's one of the positives that this movie got right.
Honestly, dude, it's shot well. Like, I'm not gonna watch it and go out of my fucking way to watch it, because I'm probably out of the 4 of us, I'm the only one who owns it.
I have the box set.
Yeah, so do I. Okay. Now I don't feel so bad. But
you have the book too.
Nah, I'm probably gonna buy it.
Book is better.
But honestly, I think the one scene that actually, like, made it a horror movie for me was when Dick Warlock rips the bum's head off in the junkyard.
Oh, that was a great scene.
Because, like, if they're gonna going back to the whole marketing thing, if they're gonna market it as a horror movie, treat it as such. Mm-hmm. Don't make it just a story that kind of rambles on and adds in a drunk doctor. But that was the one point where I'm like, oh, this has potential to finally be what it really is. And that's really the only scene we get other than the coroner, but they don't really show anything. Mm-hmm. But that's probably about it. And, like, we've already bashed this movie enough. I can't say any more other than I'm stumbling over my words because I'm like, yeah, there's nothing else bad I can really say about it.
Well, it's not a horrible movie.
No, it's not.
It is a hit or miss, and it found a crowd now.
Yeah, it definitely.
It's probably becoming more of a cult classic now than it was back then.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
It's yeah, there's really nothing else I could say. Like, truthfully, like, I used to watch it on AMC. Like, now that I own it, this is the first time I've watched it since, I don't know, ever. But other than that, yeah, like, it's kind of an
I actually went out of my way to watch it again last night. I was painting my Warhammer miniature, so I was working on ghost models last night while watching, Season of the Witch, because what better way to get into the holiday? But I am a sucker for a villainous monologue.
Okay.
So of course that scene where
Cochrane.
where Cochrane is explaining the whole grand plan of everything, and it's like just he's so oily. He's so charismatic, and he's such a delight to actually watch act to begin with. But again, it's what turns the film into a Bond movie almost again. But it's like, yeah, I'm a sucker for a villainous monologue. So that's actually my favorite scene where everything is revealed and the grand scheme is told. As far as the least favorite scene, I'm gonna have to go back to the very beginning of the movie. I feel like just watching the guy run away from these people. It feels like it drags a little too long for me. It's a bit slow, but I feel like it just takes too long to get to our main characters. It's like, is this guy going to be our main character? It almost feels like is this going to pull a Psycho or
A red herring, yeah.
or a horror hotel? Are we going to follow this guy for like half an hour and then he's dead and then we have a whole new cast of people to deal with? It's like no, it's just this guy. But I just feel like that takes a little bit too long. So that's it as far as my least favorite. But yeah, I think this movie is it's an awful lot of fun. It's definitely got issues.
Yeah.
It's got its ups and down moments. I think it kind of evens out in the end, but it is still I find it to be very entertaining. It's a lot of fun.
All right, I have a few things that we didn't bring up at all.
Oh, okay.
Because first off, being like we have the body count, which was only 9 people, kind of low.
All right.
And the amount of times that theme song was actually played in the movie was 14.
14 times.
Yeah, because I was like, dude, you hear it a lot, and I was like, I was kind of curious, so I had to find out, because I'm like, that is an obnoxious song, and it got stuck in my head.
Oh, you're talking about the Silver Shamrock.
Silver Shamrock
Okay,
theme
not
song.
John Carpenter's.
No, just
yeah.
the Silver Shamrock. Wow,
The
that's a
Silver
lot.
Shamrock.
Silver Shamrock.
And then actually, when he plays the commercial for the robots and kills them, the number to start the commercial was 666.
Oh.
So I thought that was actually kind of funny, because like if you look across to like, oh, that's actually pretty funny, and then if it makes sense, killing everybody.
And the rule of 3. There's
Yeah,
a lot of 3
there you
in
go,
this
back to
movie.
your 3.
Back to the rule of 3. You get the 666. Well, that's not actually the number of the beast, though.
No, people are saying it's like either 999 or
No.
777.
No, they actually found like an earlier transcript of that translation, and it's actually 616. But because the one had like faded, or there was dirt on a later translation, people mistranslated it as another 6.
There's another 6.
It's actually 616. So 666 is now the fax number of the beast.
You hear that, everybody? We confirmed. The number of the beast is 616.
Doesn't have the same ring.
dude, it sounds like
It doesn't.
It sounds
It
like an
doesn't.
area code now.
It does!
I'm gonna call the devil at 616, please.
I'm sorry. The number you...
It's 616666666.
Oh, yeah, you're not due for another 2 years.
Did you have any other little things like that?
No, like there really wasn't too much like in the way of like little tidbits. Like most of it we already talked about. Other than bringing up the book, like that was about it. Like those 3 tidbits were like kind of the funny. Like the 666 being the other tidbit I thought was pretty funny, but.
The only other little tidbit I heard was they might have put Michael Myers in a trailer or a poster.
He was actually on the screen a couple times for like when the kids were watching the movies. So he was somewhere in there. Like I think it was either The Shape or.
Or are you
No,
talking about the
I mean, like
promotional?
the
Oh, that
promotional.
Oh, they did? I did.
Yeah,
I wouldn't put it past.
I heard a review where they said that, although I don't know how true that is, but
Okay.
I mean,
It may be one of those like overseas posters, like
it could be.
those posters in Japan and Korea. They get freaking crazy.
Okay.
It's like the poster for the original Halloween 2. Michael Myers just looks like a zombie.
Oh.
Like you can see the mask is like torn halfway up the side of the face,
Oh,
and
really?
it's like you can see underneath the skin, and it all looks like kind of rotted and distorted. It's like, why is he a zombie?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, he's supposed to be dead. Yeah, shit.
Is he
Shot
Michael
6
Myers?
times? Yeah.
Oh yeah, they shot him 6 times. Yeah. But no, maybe it was one of those overseas posters because they were worried about people not connecting the dots here.
and if they didn't
So
market
it's-
it here in Japan, they could have said, "Hey,
Fuck it, here you go.
yeah, oh, I guess this
Right.
guy's back again."
I do like how they slipped the masks from this movie into the new Halloween. Though.
Oh,
I
that
did
too.
too.
They actually had the
That
kids
was a
trick or
great
treating in those
homage.
masks.
Yeah.
There's a lot to talk about that Halloween 2018 movie because I know when people first saw that, they were on the fence with it, but I think the more you watch Halloween 2018, it gets better the more you watch it.
Absolutely.
Like, I mean, I enjoyed it the first time I saw it, but every time I watch it more, I go, man, this movie's actually a hell of a lot better than, like, it takes more than one viewing to really get it. Like, the homages and the story itself.
I think it's the best since the original.
Yeah, I do too now.
I said Lexi and I saw it in theaters twice, so
I did too.
because I thought it was amazing.
The score also got like a nice revamp, especially the ending credit song.
Oh, yeah.
Halloween Triumphant. That's a great song.
Well, when you get John Carpenter and his son doing the soundtrack, it kind of you know it's gonna bring it.
Yeah,
That was all meant to come together the way it did.
Yeah.
Just how that,
but it did.
yeah.
And I thought it was a nice nod when they threw those masks into the new movie, like Michael.
Yeah,
they all run into him, and I'm like, I did one of those moments.
Easter egg.
Yeah.
Easter eggs on Halloween.
Well, anybody else have anything to add to our Halloween 3 discussion?
I think we're good.
You know, good?
Yeah.
Lord Damien, do you have anything coming up that you'd like to promote on the show?
I know RCNA is running a marathon of their own Halloween movies as well as episodes of my show coming on Halloween. I don't have anything else major coming up anytime soon. I've got to finish writing some episodes for November and December. We'll have some cameos from other local kind of horror people in November. But no, I don't have anything else like major coming up.
All right.
All right, great.
John, you have any?
I just have another show coming up November 2nd and 3rd at the Kutztown Craft Fair. I should have a few more of the Halloween decor that I've been making. I got cleaned out the last show that I had at the Park City Mall in Lancaster. People flocked to it, and I was very, very happy. I have a lot of more requests to make more Halloween decorations, but that will be another time. I'm starting to turn into Jack Skellington, where I feel wiped after everything. Starting to turn into him right now. But one final thing about Halloween 3. If you have not seen this movie, I encourage anyone listening to just give it a shot. Just give it a chance. You can hate it, you can love it, whatever. Just give it a chance at least. Because some people have turned it away because it doesn't have the shape in it.
I agree. I think it's well worth a chance. Look at it as a separate movie, side movie, however you want to see it, say it, view it, whatever. And you may fall into that crowd of love it or hate it. That's why we're talking about it.
Exactly.
And there was meaning behind the reason why it turned out the way it did. Unfortunately, they didn't execute it well, and the lore is what it is now. So, with that being said, we are going to sign off. This is Colin Peters.
John Rashatter.
Jeff Manfred.
Lord Damien McDonovan.
And we shall see you all in the next session. And by the way, Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween, 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 happy
Please, somebody help me.